If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Coming up on the program, we started onions this way last year and they were phenomenal. We're going to show you how we did it and we're going to do it again. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored by the following.
It all starts in the soil. Since 1925, Kellogg Garden Organics has been dedicated to providing you and your family organic products that have helped your gardens grow. Our organic soils and fertilizers can now be found at the Home Depot.
migardener.com with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. migardener.com. HappyLeafLED.com, a commercial-grade grow light with a home gardener's affordability. All indoors, no fans, no motors, simply plug in and grow. Great for seed starting to lettuce to full-grown tomatoes. HappyLeafLED.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. It's that time of year where it's the time to plant onions from seed indoors. You want to do that about 10 to 12 weeks before your last average frost date. You can find that last average frost date in your area by going to your favorite search engine and typing in last average frost date and insert your zip code there. We're going to start onions and leeks and shallots here. And we did this last year in the same configuration and it worked phenomenal. We had the best harvest. We had better than store-bought size onions in our garden with this method, and I contributed to allowing the plants, the onions, to get developed as much as possible before we moved them out. Now we'll talk about moving them out later, but when you're going to plant onions, a lot of people's questions is, I don't have good sized onions. Well, this could be a factor of several. One is you're not getting the right type of onion. Onions are a unique crop in which, based on where you live in North America, determines what variety or what type of onions you're supposed to grow to get bulbing onions. If you're in the South, short day onions. If you're in the central portions of the United States, let's say Central California to Washington, D.C., kind of in that area, you want a neutral day onion. And northern portions of the United States, Canada, you want long day onions. And to be more specific on where you're at, you can do that. You can go to your favorite search engine and find that specifically. But that's a general ideal. Now, if you take short day onions and try to grow them in the northern area or long day in the short, you're going to get green tops, but you're not going to get any bulb development because that determines by day length on that. So that might be one reason why you're not getting onions like you think you should. Secondly, we're starting them from seed, and this is the preferred method for the best success. Obviously, maybe not everybody has the availability to do such. There are two other options which you can start your onions. You have sets, which are the tiny bulbs, and you have starts, which are the green-like bundle of pencils. The secondary method, if you're not going to do the seed starting method, is the starts, which is that big bundle of green-looking pencils. The reason why that is the preferred method secondary to onion seed starting is those are live plants that you're going to get at your garden center at the time in your area when onions are ready to be planted in the ground or thereabouts. Those will grow relatively decent. The sets are the little bulbs. These are not the preferred method because onions are biannual, and this means you plant them this year. If you don't touch them, they'll go into dormancy over the winter and they'll come back and they'll put a seed pod on the second year. Leeks are the same way in the seed pod biannual method. So what you're doing with that little set is you're planting that onion, which was harvested sometime this past November, December, early January. It's come to your garden center. You're putting it in the ground. Now that bulb is thinking, oh, this is my second year of growth. And a lot of times it will grow, put on somewhat of a bulb, but put a giant center stalk on, have a massive flower, and it will go to seed. Those are not good for storage. The bulb is totally edible, but the reason why the storage is not good on it is because that seed stalk, where that flower is on, has actually grown through the actual bulb, so the storage length is very short. So seed starting is the preferred method. The onion starts, or the bundle of pencils, is the secondary method, and then the sets, or the little onions, is the third method, which I don't recommend for the reasons we just covered. So we're going to start seeds, our onions and our leeks and our shallots, in 1 gallon root maker containers. We have found this to work phenomenal. Now, we've started them in the 10 by 20 flats before. What we have found is a couple of things that didn't work so well. We have obviously a lot less soil here. We have about 6 inches of soil here. So you go from a 2.5 to 3 inch to 6 inch. You're doubling the mass of soil. You're doubling the amount of nutrients as well as moisture that is able to stay in the container. And we can divide them up a little more evenly in these. Now, we're going to use Kellogg's Organic All Natural Potting Mix. We'll talk about that in a moment. There are people who start onions in these little, or any plants, in these little expandable peat moss pellets. It's got a netting on it. Put water and they'll expand based on the size, several different sizes. These I don't recommend, and here's the reason why. These are great for getting a plant to grow to a certain stage. This is peat moss. They do not contain any nutrient value. So at a certain point, you're going to have to supplement your tray with some type of liquid fertilizer, organic or inorganic, in order to feed the plants. The plants do very, very well up to the point where it's used up all the natural energy that has been stored in the seed itself. And then at that point, you begin to see the plants kind of deteriorate in health. And with onions, some people will put 2 or 3 onions in this. It's just doesn't make feasible sense because you're typically wanting to plant dozens of onions, and you're going to have to bust this apart and find the onion, or you put 1 onion in this at a time. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And when you plant these, you need to rip the netting off, because they say it's biodegradable, but after 5 years, I still have not found one that's biodegradable. So that's just a tip for you. You can plant however you want. I'm just telling you what we have found to work very, very well. So let's dig into the all-natural Kellogg's potting mix, and we'll start looking at and getting our grow bags set up. And if you want to get these grow bags, you can find that link in the show notes as well. Okay. So now with the Kellogg's products, they are all locally made based on your region, and it's made with those particular items. Now, they are available at your local Home Depot. Go to your local Home Depot online and find out what products are available in your specific area, and they will have inventory. And as more products come in, they will update that inventory so you can find the product that is specific to the job that you have in your garden. So you can see here, nice, good material. It's got the aged wood fines in it. That's going to help with the moisture retention. It does have a little fertilizer in the mix as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and we're going to fill our 1 gallon root maker containers up. And the things about the root maker containers, all the root maker bags are air pruned, and they're air pruned. They have little holes in the bag themselves when you hold it up to the light, as well as this white coating. It's actually a tempered coating that will actually help keep the roots cooler. And with plants, the cooler the roots, the happier the plant, the more productive the plant is. So I've got all my root maker 1 gallon grow bags filled with the all natural potting mix from Kellogg's Garden Products. Now again, it's regionally made, so your ingredients might be slightly different than a different region. Generally, the bags have 0.3, 0.1, and 0.1 on the NPK, on the nutrient value, as well as the horticultural grade perlite in it. That's the white styrofoam looking stuff. So it's not styrofoam. It actually allows you to add more aeration to the soil and hold a little moisture too. So when we talk about planting the onions, we talked about the 3 different types: short, long, and neutral day onions. When it comes to leeks, there's no categorization. Wherever you're at in the world, you'll be fine. You just plant your leeks normal, good to go. And the shallots are the same way. So again, you want to make sure you're getting the right type of onion. So how we're going to plant these, we're growing several different varieties of onions. Yellow sweet Spanish onions, ruby red long day onions. Sometimes the package indicates what type of onion it is. Other times you have to do the research and actually figure out what you have. White sweet Spanish onions. We've got a small cocktail onion. And then these are heirloom all-American flag leeks. So, and then we've got the shallots here as well. So I want to make sure I don't mix these up. These are the ruby reds. These are the leeks. So I'm just going to show how we plant one, and that will be the repetitiveness of the rest. So we'll start with the white Spanish onions. 250 seeds approximately in the package. We're going to do enough to cover it. We've got 2-gallon grow bags as well, and then some more 1 gallons that we will distribute the rest of the seeds in so they're not so cramped, and that's part of the problem. You want to have enough room that these seeds are able to develop, and then you can plant them outside at the appropriate time. So and again, you want to mark these because leeks and onions and shallots, until they start developing, all look the same. So we're just using window blinds as markers. So I'm just going to go over the top here. You're not going to be able to see the seeds very well, but just kind of, it's not a science. You just want to spread them out as best you can, and then take a little bit of the potting mix and cover them up with, you know, 1/4 of an inch. Nothing too heavy. If you get a little bit more than that, it's not a big deal. And then you're going to water these in, and that's why we have them in. You can either put them in a tray that you find that's a watertight container, or a 10 by 20 flat. This way you're going to allow the water to penetrate and hydrate the potting mix. And then also you can have a little bit left in the reservoir that it will wick back up, but you don't want to have it setting in consistent water because a lot of problems will develop then. So that was the white onions. I'm going to do the rest just the same. And then we'll talk about grow lights or sunlight and what our next step is on that. So now that we've got our onions planted, there's 2 options for you. You can either put them by a south-facing window, or what we have done for years was put them by a west-facing window as the sun set, and you would rotate the plants as they grew towards the light. That does have the tendency to get your plants leggy compared to growing them under a LED light like we have here from Happy Leaf. A south-facing window also works, but again, you can have that problem of the plants growing towards the light, stretching, and become legginess. The term legginess is an excessive amount of growth reaching for a light. This is not nearly as detrimental on plants like tomatoes, but it is very detrimental on plants like cucumbers if you're going to start them inside, or squash, which I don't recommend, but those become very leggy. Brassicas are known to be very leggy plants if light is not adequately applied to them. We've got 2 different Happy Leaf, well, we got 2 Happy Leaf LED lights. They're made in America, and we've got them on a timer, and you can just run them without the timer, but the timer is highly recommended. So the advantage of the LED lights versus a traditional tube light like we're all familiar with is the intensity of light, the expansion of light that is covered. This will cover 3 10 by 20 flats and have no problem at all. We did that last year. Plants did phenomenal. The healthy growth that they had, and with no, even on the outside realm of it, the plants didn't see any lack of the light there. The other thing is that it has a 50,000 hour minimum life expectancy. Now that's minimal. So that would be 5.7 years on continuous light on without ever turning it off. And again, they don't lose intensity like you see a tube light that you have to replace every year. If you want to spend the money and go cheap on a tube light, that's your business. This will cost you about $15 of operational power of use a year. And the investment is well worth what you're spending and what you're getting out of it. And we've worked a deal out with Happy Leaf LED. If you're interested in purchasing this or other products they have available, at the time of checkout, use coupon code WVG and you save 5% on orders over $50. So that'll get you a little more knocked off the price and allow you to get a grow light that not only can you start seeds with, but you can actually physically grow mature plants all year round indoors if that's what you want to do. You can do hydroponics with it in mason jars, whatever. There's a lot of things on their website. So WVG, 5% off, $50 or more at checkout. Now I have the Happy Leaf LED lights on right now, but you don't have to have them on right now. You can leave them off until you see the onions actually emerging, the onions, the leeks, the shallots emerging, which that can take between, based on the ambient temperature in your grow room or your room. This is underneath a table, and this is just on a frame that I've created with some leftover parts from other shelving. 7 to 14 days, and you don't have to turn them on until you actually see the onions emerging. That just saves you a little on the power there. And we will continue to add more flats to this, so we can actually, with these two lights, put 6 different flats underneath them and have no problem with the supplemental light. It's very intense, and it's got all different colors. It's got the red, blue, and yellow, and then the newer ones are even fancier and have more availability, and they have little 4-inch, 17-inch, and 33-inch sizes available for your needs. So when you're planting onions, starting them from seed, this is the way that we have found to be successful. We've tried a number of different methods. Some were okay. This has been by far surpassing all of the past methods in which we have tried. So long day, short day, medium, neutral day, figure out what you got and go from there. Thank you so much for watching. Joining us again next time for more organic gardening, seed starting, and food preserving. I'm Joy Baird, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.